We can go as fast as I can study and absorb the material. So I'm the limiting factor. And I appreciate that versus like a place that doesn't have as many planes. That's going to be a limiting factor. A place doesn't have enough instructors. That's going to be a limiting factor. A place doesn't have an in-house DPE. That's going to be a limiting factor.
What you do before Blue Line?
What didn't I do before Blue Line? So I originally went to school for exercise and health promotion. Then became a strength coach for a couple years. Went back to grad school. During grad school, started playing music. Did that for about 12 years, and then once COVID hit, I kind of realized I needed something that was financially independent. And it took about a year to kind of figure out what else I had a passion for growing up. That's a short story. A little bit of fitness, a little bit of music, and then fast forward, here I am.
Talk to me about your pops. You said your pops is vicariously living through you.
Yeah, so my dad was in the Navy. He was a midshipman. They had given him the option to do aviation, and had given him basically the PPL lesson 1, 2, and 3. But with that, you have to go home and do all your homework. So he showed up and hadn't done his homework. He didn't know he had to do that. They failed him out, bounced him out, and he ended up going somewhere else in the Navy. I mean, he's fine. He's a CPA now, but he realized in that moment like that was his opportunity. So, and then my younger brother's a drone pilot. So we've always been proximal to aviation. I didn't know that until I started here that he had been bounced out of the aviation program in the Navy. That was cool to find out, you know, deeper the relationship with my dad, finding out a little bit about that. But yeah, they follow along. Actually, they'll follow along on the radar app, all the flights, which is kind of cool. That I send them the tail number and what time the rental is, and they're following this flight right now.
Ooh. You say hi to mom and pops for me.
Right. Hi, Mom.
All right, so what made you become a pilot other than, you know, learning about your pops? What made you pursue it?
It was something I always wanted to do. From the time I was about 12, my grandparents took me to a World War II air show. And at the end of that, for $70, they'll take you up and do a couple laps. And that was my first airplane experience in general. I remember that being a distinct moment, because in the biplanes, you know, here I can see your controls. In a biplane, he can't see if I'm shadowing his controls. He's just like, hey, don't touch them. And I was like, I promise I won't touch this. But I mean, I wasn't fighting him. I was just shadowing it, kind of playing along. You know, you're 12 years old. I was make believe that I was flying this World War II biplane. I guess it'd be World War I, really. That was kind of the first experience with that. And then I had always had a thing for military aviation. Of course, I'm about 1 inch too tall to fit in the cockpit of any of the cool jets. So it wasn't something that was gonna make its way into my life.
What was like the biggest thing that stopped you from getting into aviation? Maybe a lot sooner, or maybe you weren't thinking about it.
Oh no, I know exactly what I know exactly what it was. So 9/11. I'm a little older. 9/11. I was in 10th grade when 9/11 hit. I was like 15 years old. That was, you know, I had my experience. I was still into aviation, but when that hit, I didn't want to fly anything that didn't have guns, missiles, ordnance, you know, some sort of military. I was like, if I can't do that, then I'm not flying. You know, it just kind of became a little bit of a fear kind of thing, but it was illogical fear, obviously. But and I also had this notion that in order to become a professional pilot, you had to go to the military to get your hours, which is not the case. I know that now. It just kind of was a mental barrier of thinking that I either had to go military to be a career pilot, or you just have to either have your own plane or just come from money.
Oh yeah.
Which, you know, neither one of those things I kind of fell into the category of. But yeah, it was definitely a mental block, and it's kind of worn off. But there's it's a lot more accessible now. Schools like Blue Line and like any of the other schools that you are looking at. That'll take you through all your certs without needing, you know, to go to the military for 10 years route.
I was thinking about going the same route too, go to Air Force. But then I was thinking about it. I mean, that's just kind of like a workaround, and my Mod Dukes kind of talked me out of it. So the biggest question: how'd you hear about Blue Line?
Actually, so I have my 4 schools picked out while I was waiting for my medical to clear. 2 of them kind of fell off the list once my medical cleared, and then but as soon as the medical cleared, I saw an Instagram ad for Blue Line, and it was like, all your certs in 6 months. It's just enough to catch my eye, and I was like, okay, let's see. I was like, okay, North Carolina. I grew up there. Let's, you know, which is kind of appealing to not have to go too far from home. I grew up in Charlotte, so it's not hometown, but home state. And just kind of threw them into the list. And they were actually the first ones that I toured. So when I toured, I can't describe the energy other than just a vibe. You could tell when people are having a good time when they're in a place where they're thriving, in a place where they're working hard, in a place where they're focused. And you can kind of tell the energy of everybody. If a majority of people have that energy, you can feel it when you walk in the room. People make eye contact. They say hey to you. You know, people that I didn't even know say, you know, recognize that I was kind of new and just said hey. I paid attention to the way that the instructors acted with the students, and that was a big tell for me. Was it was constructive, it was very knowledgeable, it was very precise. It was a vibe I can't describe. There was an energy there that
felt like family.
Yeah, it felt felt like family. Not to be, you know, Fast and the Furious, but it felt like family.
Family's everything. Family Toretto.
Family was everything.
When I was going through the program, I had a lot of fun with my instructors. Yeah, the same ones I'm working with right now. It's a great group of people who want to see you succeed when you put in the work. Right? It's all about putting in the work. So, and you do put in the work, so thank you for that. Makes my job a whole lot easier.
And that was another fact. It's easier to work hard and put in, you know, 60, 70, 80 hours a week towards this when everybody else is doing it. It's hard when you're the only one doing that. It's easy when everybody else is doing it. And I wanted a spot like that. And Blue Line was that. It's fulfilled and exceeded all of what I thought it was going to be, all that it was. It's a gnarly program. I have no complaints.
It tests you, but in the right ways, right? It tests you to build you, make you into a better person, right? And ultimately, a safer pilot, so. How did Blue Line, right, specifically the people you talk to, our admissions team, how did they make your transition into getting into flight school?
Oh, Julie was awesome. Julie was awesome. And the best thing, so I told you I have 4 schools, right? And I had reached out to them. They all have my email. So, of course, they send you a bunch of emails. I toured a couple of them, and then after you tour, they don't leave you, like, nobody leaves you alone. You just get emails. Doesn't matter if you ask for them. Julie actually left me alone. In between when I toured, and I had questions, she answered them. And then if, you know, she had a phone, if I needed to call her, she was always available for a phone call. It didn't matter. I mean, even on Friday night, I think I had a question Friday night, like 8 o'clock, and she picked up. And I didn't expect her to pick up. I just texted her thinking she's going to see that Sunday or maybe Monday. She called me back, and we figured, you know, gave me the information I was looking for. But when I didn't need it, she didn't send me a bunch of emails. She just kind of let me decide, which that was amazing. Like, it was exactly what you need, but not pushy. Like, if you want the information, here it is. I mean, if you're interested, I'll help you do this. But it wasn't a bombardment of
automated emails,
which I appreciated. Yeah, it wasn't. Whenever there was emails, I knew that there was someone on the other end of it. It was It was no automated emails. There was no.
Yeah, they're trying to reach you.
Yeah, but it was very, you know, thoughtful. It was very intentional. And the silence was the best part, actually, was the, like, giving me a chance to think. You know what I mean? I don't need, like, I've already toured. I already have all those stuff I need. I already have made my spreadsheet of what I'm going to, the factors I'm going to use to decide. Like, sending me a bunch of emails doesn't help. Julie was awesome. Like, quintessential, cannot say more about her.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. I had Amber. Same thing, dude. You know, immediately after I pressed the inquiry, like, try to get in contact. It was like 5 minutes later, I was like, oh my God, they're on top of it. What have you liked most since you got here?
I appreciate how I have about 1 day a week off, and I love that. Like, there's no downtime. There's always something going on. If there's a down day, we got a group ground. If there's a flight like we have a flight canceled, we'll do a ground. There's always stuff, and there's weekly activities that go on that Blue Line. Because there's a professional development dinner that goes along. There's always something going on at Blue Line. It's very engaging. And it makes it easy to keep your training up and be daily with it and have no days off, which is exactly what I wanted. No days off. Obviously, that doesn't work forever. You have to have 1 or 2 days off. But 1 day is about as much as I want off. So I appreciate the heavy schedule, how much You guys are not the limiting factor. The planes are not the limiting factor. The weather can be a limiting factor, but you can go as fast as I can study and absorb the material. So I'm the limiting factor, and I appreciate that. Versus like a place that doesn't have as many planes, that's going to be a limiting factor. A place that doesn't have enough instructors, that's going to be a limiting factor. A place that doesn't have an in-house DPE, that's going to be a limiting factor. I'm the limiting factor. If I can't grasp material fast enough, then that's how fast I can go through, and I appreciate that, is being able to go as fast as I can work. That was another factor too, was I wasn't going to go anywhere where they didn't have maintenance.
Oh yeah.
Like that was top. I knew enough to know all the other things you can deal with. You can have, you know, the limiting factor being planes, cool. But if you don't have maintenance, doesn't matter how many planes you have, it's going to be a limiting factor eventually.
You may have one thing go wrong, and with that one thing go wrong, it grounds the plane. You cannot fly, and then you have like consistent days where you're not flying. So to have a place that comes with the full package, right? You have consistent flights, available instructors, your schedule's built out, right? Giving you expected dates for check rides, not just like, okay, you're done with training, now we're gonna get you check rides, but expected dates for check rides.
Sure.
Dude, you're looking at schools like Embry-Riddle, for example, which to get everything is like it's close to $500,000.
Yeah, at least $250,000, like entry, like $250,000 probably plus your flight.
Oh, with everything included, and just to have all your ratings ready and accessible, right, in a timely manner. I was just like, bro, if I'm gonna do this, I want to get it done.
Yeah, you can't beat it. That was clear expectations was another good thing too. Is, you know, knowing, okay, this is what is expected of me. Here's the grace period, and here's where you are officially behind. You know, I was behind a little bit in instrument, but a lot of that was weather. Part of it was me, but the other part was weather. Having the expectation of knowing where you're at so you can accurately and honestly assess your track through the program is very helpful.
Oh yeah, we've been cooking, dude.
We have been, bro.
We've been cooking. Yeah, the flexibility of the schedule, always being able to put on a flight because there are planes available.
Or the opposite, you have a day off and you need to get something done.
Oh yeah.
You can easily throw on. It's a very malleable organization in that sense, that if you need to get stuff done, you can get it done. There's nothing holding you back except for you.
Yeah. Shout out to the instructor teams.
Hey.
Always willing to pick up a flight if you say one instructor has a day off, another one will fly you.
And that is I've experienced that too, is having somebody else step in whenever, if you got a day off, I can still fly if it's a good day. And that's the team aspect of it is cool.